She's got all the voltages. Crunch. Well, you can see how bumping the starter along just makes the motor just turn just a little bit each time. But that's pretty much it. I cleaned some stuff out of here and send her into the shop. Welcome back to One Up ET. I'm Devin, and we're back on a TransAm again. We got, as you can see behind me, a big mess. We'll see how we got there in a little bit, but the videos haven't been out every week like I wanted to, and the reason for that is mostly because my work truck, that if you don't know, I drive truck, caught fire, lost coolant, overheated. Long story short, motor blew up and needed to rebuild. Set me back about 30 grand. And with all that running around getting parts and things like that, that's brought us to the point where I haven't had a lot of time to mess with the TransAm. This weekend, the truck can't do nothing with it now, so I got some things happening on the TransAm. We'll get into that. We'll show you what's going on with that, and I'll overlay some video on top of that while we're doing the work, explaining a little bit about the truck, maybe throw some footage in there of the truck and what's going on with that, and we'll quit mumbling and get into it. What is up, my YouTube peoples? Today we're on a special mission. Going to rescue my truck, kind of. Well, it's got to get towed. Had a huge foible on Friday. Driving along, super cold. We had a cold front come through. Started losing power and missing a little bit. And I was like, oh shit, what are we gonna do now? First thought in my head was, I must have a fuel filter plugging up, and I'm losing power because all my gauges look pretty normal at the time. And it started slowing down some more. I'm down to like 30 miles an hour, and it's like barely chugging. I got a truck stop probably about 2 miles ahead of me, so I'm like, I'll get down there and we'll check it out. So I continue on a little bit. I'm kind of trying to get it just really dogging, and it's got no power at all. Man, I don't know if it's gonna make it. And then just the right wind, attitude, whatever, I got a little puff of smoke come out on my hood. So I'm like, okay, that's not good. That's more than a fuel filter. So I just started to pull over. So I just popped it into neutral and started to coast over. As soon as I popped it in neutral, the engine just died. It just shut down, just 0 RPM. And I sat there for a second and I was like, man, that's not good at all. And then as soon as I started getting slower, a lot of smoke started coming out of the hood. I wish I had it on camera. I was sick. Things were so cold. Literally right around 0 Fahrenheit. Right around 0 degrees Fahrenheit, and a lot of smoke coming out from underneath the hood. So quickly get her stopped, shut down, set the brakes, pop the hood, just fireball. I got a big fireball in the front of my motor. Not good. Let's deal with this guy quick. Hey, baby! Anyway, long story short, grab some water, throw it out. It wasn't big enough fire I wanted to pull out a fire extinguisher on, but it was there just in case you need. I always carry one under the seat if you don't know drivers.
Didn't quite need that. I didn't think I needed it, so I just grabbed a bottle of water. I had tons of those. Doused it out real quick. No problem. Sat there. I was like, okay, let's assess the damage. There's all the wiring. There's a temp sensor, cam sensor in the front, and some wires that run off down to the side had also expired. Let all the smoke out of them. Surprisingly enough, after it had gotten really hot. I hadn't known at the time because the temperature sensor wire was the ones that burned up, so my temp gauge just kind of froze where it was, I guess, and didn't let me know it was overheating, or I wouldn't have kept going, or I wouldn't have kept my foot in. If it was getting hot, I would have shut her off right away. So, pull over, let her cool down, got the fire out, all of that good stuff. Sat there for a little bit thinking what I was gonna do the next process. After it cooled down, I cranked it over. It actually started right back up. The gauges weren't reading right at all at this point, and they were all over the place. Obviously with the wires burned up in front. So I sat there for a minute, idled it, couldn't tell anything, was done. I was like, okay, whatever, shut it off, let it sit a second, so I don't think, well, I at least got to get it off the highway, so let me pull up, try to limp it down to the truck stop, and at that point, from coasting and everything, I was about a mile from it. So, started it back up, got her going. Temp gauge was kind of flipping around. I didn't know if it was getting hot or not. I didn't know exactly what. It seemed like it was getting hot. So I got up a little bit of speed and was coasting downhill into the truck stop there. Just shut the truck off, let her coast in, turned into there, and that's where I sat. And this was first thing in the morning, first load I had. Had a mechanic come from the shop, come help me out, bring me some supplies. Basically, I don't have anything. I'm sick. I'm just like, I'm dying sick. Like in that cold, 10 seconds in the cold, I'm literally just shaking so uncontrollable. I was completely worthless to do anything. And mechanic's a good guy. He's like, just sit there, I'll check it out. And he checks it out. And he's like, well, all the water's out of the motor because the fire had burned tube that came out from the thermostat housing and wraps around down to the water pump. And that molded hose was in such shape that right next to the temperature setting unit and the temperature setting unit looked like it shorted out, and that's where the fire started. And then it burnt that hose enough to crispy it and let the water out. And then all of the water had to come out when I was on the road, and I had no idea about it because my temp gauge was reading normal at the time. So I get on, I'm sitting in the truck while he's doing the work on it. He's trying to splice wires and get back. The connectors are completely melted, stuff like that. He doesn't know he's going to get anywhere with it. I'm calling around for parts. At this point, it's going to need a whole engine wire harness. So I call around, get the parts lined out. They can't have anything till Monday because it's Friday. Decided to shut her down, and at this time I'm absolutely freezing. Sitting. Luckily, another driver from the same company, he had one of those little portable propane. You put the little 1 pound cylinders in and set that in the truck and keep warm with. He gave me one of those and like 3 cylinders, propane cylinders. We worked on it all day there, and that went along. We did as much as we could, and I hunted up all the parts and got them ordered for Monday. I get there, back to decide, well, to go home. I have someone come pick me up, leave the truck sitting at the truck stop. It's going to be fine there. Order the parts, pick them up Monday, and then come back out there and see what I can do. Call another mobile mechanic that can come do stuff working, because I'm still sick at this point. I really don't have anything left in me. I come back, go run around. I have to drive an hour one direction and another hour and a half the other direction just to go get the parts to the truck. out here and I have no way to do it. I got to drive an hour and a half back over there. He's like, you guys got someone? They had literally a parts runner that could run the parts up to me, and they agreed and then ran the parts up to me, which didn't in the end really do any good, because by the time we got everything put back together, ran into another issue. Now the truck at this point had gotten probably pretty hot, but we don't know the severity of it, but it would still run. It would still start back up and run. And at that point we thought that it would be okay. So I've got a new wire harness, put that on. That's a major deal to do on the side of the road. Put new wire harness on it, replaced the hoses that were messed up, just had it apart, put a new thermostat in it anyway. There's a couple other hoses we found that were kind of crusty, so we changed them out, put them out, get it all back together. We're like, okay, let's fire this thing up and see what we got. Wouldn't turn the key, it just goes clunk, nothing. It's zero crank whatsoever. It just like it, kind of like it had dead battery, but the amount of force that the starter hit the flywheel with, it more or less seemed like the motor was locked up. It did turn a little bit, and it would turn slowly, but then you're heating the starter up. It gets extremely hot trying to just hold it and let it try to crank over. Put battery charge cables on it, charge it up, try it again. Same result. You get just a little bit of movement on it. It might click along about 1/8 of an inch on the flywheel. You just click every time you slap the starter. We're like, well, let's try to pull start it. So then we take and pull out a fitting out of the air tank, air up the truck, disconnect it from the trailer, hook onto it with a chain, start pulling it, and I'm letting the clutch out while driving around the parking lot of the truck stop trying to pull start it. Every time I let the clutch out, it just locks up, starts spinning. I ain't working. I'm trying to ease in it. We tried a different way. I tried to ease on the clutch and get it to go. Tried just dumping it and get it to go. It couldn't get the motor to turn at all. So it's locked up. We gave up on that deal. So now I'm headed back to the truck now to bring the keys back over there, because I got a wrecker coming to pick it up. And he's going to bring it back to the guy's shop where he can pull the injectors on it and see, look down there with the bore scope, see if it's maybe hydrolocked, if it got hot enough to pop the head gasket or crack the head, and see what's keeping this thing from turning over, if you can. That, but a long story short on that, it's just going to be a pretty expensive fix. I don't know how much this is going to set back with the TransAm build, but it's going to set things back significantly. So I thought it would be worthwhile to let you guys in on it and what kind of help. And I know people might say, offer up suggestions and help, and really by the time this is out, we've already got something figured out. We're doing something anyway. So but the best way to help would just be to, like and subscribe to the channel. That's the best that anyone I can hope for anyone to help at this point. But just about to pull up to the truck, to drop the keys, and I'll give you a little show around the engine compartment there and show you kind of what was involved in changing out that wire harness on the side of the road here. So I'll show you that in a second as soon as I pull up there. There you go. We got all the wire harness bolts to the ECM there. Goes to the back, around, over the front, back, top, down below, all the way around. Where it burned up was over on this side. Up under there you can see kind of that blue hose. There it is. That's the one that melted, let all the water free. That was open anyway. So yeah, there we go. Big pile of junk right now.
As you can see, got the engine tore down mostly. There's new parts to go in, liners, cam, pistons. On top of the extra parts, just kind of laying around. Overall, the process take for everything's cam followers, rollers. They all looked in pretty good shape, except for most of the water in the engine, 2.5 gallons of water and oil. But that is what it is. Just kind of looking it over. Piles of injectors and overall it's a big mess. And it happened, it was storming weather and the truck was completely filthy. There's the turbos and everything looked okay there. Come on our back around. I'm going to take a look at the head. You can see where I think there was 1, 4, and 6, or I think was where the water went on top of the cylinders. Then also the liners have O-rings in them. They were pretty much toast from the heat, which allowed the water to go to the oil pan, as well as being hydrolocked. And then back to the TransAm. Working on that was at least distracting, but overall, something to do while I'm waiting. This is where I noticed that the top of the dash is metal and this part of the cowl goes all the way through. I was like, why didn't that come out? Well, it's all in one piece. I'm like, oh, damn. So I have realized that I'm going to have to take the windshield out, and I kind of want to leave it in there for support when we're cutting the bottom of the car out. Yeah, so we'll go back to the deal. You'll see the windshield coming out here shortly.
What the crap?
at this point, I'm grabbing my windshield tools and try to push that through that old urethane. It's quite. I worked it and I worked it, and then in the end, I ended up cracking the windshield anyway. But poke that through there, saw all the way around, and then remove the windshield. Real simple.
Apparently there's a lot of the dash that is part of the front cowl slash it's all one piece from here all the way to there. Firewall. And coming around this corner I get hung up on this metal. There's a little bit of rust down there. Let's see if we can get a scrapey blade there. I wanted to leave the windshield in so that it would kind of support everything. And cutting the bottom out of the car. But obviously that's not going to happen. I know what's going to be best. I will scrape most of it if I got a good scraper. Find it. Then we can hit it with a wire wheel. You got no beetles, bugs, kinds of stuff. And they didn't do a good job putting in all along the bottom here. But this side to that side wouldn't even attach to anything. That's not happening. Guess that's kind of the deal. Work came along and I broke that blade. for the new dash to fit, we're going to have to cut this portion all the way around here. That piece come up in. Some of this is just, a lot of it wasn't even adhered to the thing. That's going to be a short wire wheel situation there. Like a big old mess. Gotta break some eggs, right? That's what they say. Need a good scraper. I don't know where it's at. Screwdriver ain't cutting it. It's been on here for what, 42 years. 43 years. Math properly. There we go. Let's get her started. An hour took. Come on, old family now. The old razor blade doesn't give up. That's all right. We got some more. What happened where we were cooking along there? It was good for me. Alright. That's the good stuff. I think someone tried to reseal it after the fact. That's working. Okay. Just keep going with that. so bad. Definitely nothing left the whole wire wheel can't handle. Get that lucky going up and around. Maybe. No shot. How about that? I had a razor blade in my other one. Look at that. Sure do. Look at this. Right? I'm not real fond of the angle of this dangle here because I don't like cutting myself. Expected to see more rust, but you know, it ain't bad. Ain't bad at all.
as you can see, we got them all out. Just cut that with the razor. It came out pretty good. Little wire wheel on that. And then as far as rust goes in the corner, it really, it's pretty solid in there still. A little bit of surface rust. Wire wheel, touch that up. I think she'll be pretty good. Go along here, clean this whole rail up around there. On that side. Around here, that's VIN number. Just tape that up for safety. And right around there, all good there. It's looking good now. Got to work this deal out because my original thought was to take this iron, weld it to this pieces on here, and come out and then box this in so I could keep this locations between these 2 points in line. Thinking things through, I think it's going to be better off because I'm not going to be able to slide the old tub underneath here with all this stuff out here without messing that up. And that's going to be a problem. So my second solution is, and I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to take a bunch of measurements regardless in case it fails. If I put that on the top and weld that to there, box that into there and there, effectively doing the same thing, I think that would work, and then that would leave me the space underneath it to slide the tub. What do you think? Write me in the comments if you think that would work. But like I said in the intro, like a lot of this stuff, I've been a little bit behind on because of my truck burning up. The front of the motor catching fire, overheated, cost me a whole rebuild. It's gonna run me about 30 grand, maybe more. And I've been tied up with that and haven't been able to do anything on this. It's been taking 3 weeks, 4 weeks now with this truck situation. So yeah, that's what we got. At least got a little bit of work done. Just a couple bolts holding this dash pad up to here. I'm not even worried about it because we're gonna be cutting right probably along this line here in the front because the new dash piece, I'm real curious. I might just go get it and then lay it up there and see how close we are. It's kind of hard for me to hold this up here in one piece and film this at the same time, but width-wise, I mean, that is, you can't ask for any more better. It's a little bit of unevenness. If I can get that up there. Maybe about 1/4 inch there. So I guess I can just mark that along bottom of this dash cover for my cut line, and this actually will seal up this portion of the dash, seal up at the bottom of the cowling here. As far as the width goes, that's a Camaro dash in there. Pretty much. That's the top pad. Kind of sits like that. Right up like that. There's another little trim piece that goes on top, covers that. Oh, it's so close. We couldn't. When you're modifying stuff, you come up with stuff like this, and it makes people think you know what you're talking about. Of course, we all know better, but I'm thrilled to death about that right there. That's too good. Too good. It's sitting a little high. Obviously, it's going to be down. But for the circumference of that, it's so close. The black on the windshield, where it comes up, is going to cover anything that's showing. Wish I could get that to stand so I could look at it better. Kind of like that there. Get a shot from up below. Kind of see what's going on. Well, it looks good. So good. Let's see what's going on the other side. Of course, we got an airbag still under here. Oh, come on. For crying out loud. Really doesn't get any better than that. Wow. Like I said, just a little bit more curve with the Camaro than the Trans Am. But like I said, the black of the windshield's gonna come up and cover that. This is gonna actually tuck under here a little bit. Wow, that is gonna be fantastic. Here's the other side. There's a little bit of surface rust there. I don't know how well you can pick that up on camera. But that is solid still. Very solid. A bit of paint. We'll get in there at the wire wheel. Clean him up. That's fantastic. Well, there you have it, people. That's what we got for today's video. I'm gonna splash in the footage of going and checking out the truck and see how that splices together. Maybe well. Then like and share. We'll see you next time.